A very good morning to all of you.
Good
We
morning.
at Pune branch of WRC of ICI has organized a 3-day GST session on real estate economy. GST always had faced a lot of challenges in the metamorphosis period to the current period in the specific real estate, may it be the complicated tax rates or the land revenue schemes or the severe hindrances in the IT infrastructure. So, keeping this thing in mind, we at Pune branch thought of coming up with a 3-day GST series on real estate because real estate is a very, very important segment and sector in our Indian economy, and most of the CAs are practicing in that particular segment. And we have many, many different opinions on the same. So to clarify these opinions, for the 3 days, we'll be having eminent speakers. So I welcome our today's speaker, CA Manish Gadia, sir, for this session. I even welcome our dynamic Vice Chairman of Pune branch of WRC of ICI, CA Rajesh Agarwal, sir.
Thank
Now I request CA Rajesh Agarwal, sir, to please address the audience. Over to you, sir.
you. Good morning, friends. Uh, Really, I grateful to all the faculties for giving their valuable time and insights, accepting our invitation just even on one single call. Uh, as rightly said by Pranav, uh, real estate is a little bit tricky because GST law has been drafted not for particular sector, but it is applicable to all the sectors in similar line. And real estate being it is a continuous supply of services for a year or 2 or 3 years, it is little bit tricky to apply normal provisions which we apply in day-to-day supplies to the continuous contract uh, which is having 3 to 4 years life also. And especially this all provisions are depend on some notifications 3/99 19 4/19 5/19 6/19. Not only this, it is scattered in different period also. Some contracts started before June 17, some contract started before March 19, and contracts after 1st April on and after 1st April 19. It makes more tricky to understand the implications of GST with respect to the real estate. I really thank Manish sir for accepting our invitation, and as he is always ready to share knowledge with the members, he is our beloved chairman WIRC for last year. We have very different एक ट्यूनिंग है सर के साथ, जो जब मैं भी ब्रांच कमेटी पे था तो रियली सर हेल्प मी अ लॉट इन माय committee as a managing committee member. Thank you, sir. I welcome you and all my participants. Over to you, Pranav. Unmute karo, Pranav.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Now, I'll quickly introduce today's speaker, CA Manish Kadia, sir. Though sir doesn't require a specific introduction as such, but as per our schedule, I need to introduce you, sir. The name says it all, CA Manish Kadia, sir. A visionary leader, an exemplifier, academician, and eminent personality with proficiency in delivering more than 550 lectures on service tax, GST at various different study circles, ICI branches, at AIFT, BCAS, GST, PAM, and the list goes on and on and on. Sir has been into practice since 1997 and is presently the partner in Messrs. GMJ and Company, a chartered accountants firm, was specially practicing in the field of GST. He has authored various journals and has been a co-author of various books, which includes different topics, including GST, income tax, and different regime. He has been the immediate past chairman of our Western India Regional Council of ICI. He has been into various committee heads as a chairman, as a vice chairman, and even as an advisor. He has represented before the Commissioner of Sales Tax of Maharashtra, the Finance Minister of Maharashtra, and even the Union Finance Minister for state in respect of GST. He has been invited to express his views on GST at different national television channels, including the print media. He has been the group leader of Indirect Tax Study Group of WIRC of ICI for the past year. He has also been the founder, convener, and a core group member of JB Nagar Study Circle CPA of WIRC. So the list goes on and on. So we could see that he has been really a great person in the field of GST, and we could not think of any other significant person rather than him. And it is a humble and a very great gesture, sir, to have you here. And getting up early in the morning and coming this for this tricky and a difficult topic at 8 o'clock for the GST is itself a very difficult thing. And you have made before time. So thank you so much from Pune branch of WRC, sir, to come here and grace this occasion. And I hope all the viewers would be having a great learning. So without wasting a lot of time, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Pranav, for your kind words. And I should thank Rajesh Agrawal. I always consider him to be my younger brother. And especially thanks to Chairman Kashinath for inviting me here to share my thought. Maybe after, I can say, a year or so, because last year I have not taken any session. So maybe a restart of again inning on giving a lecture. So really great, and I should compliment Pune branch that is structuring such a wonderful program that I have first time I am seeing that only on GST, real estate, such a vast topic has been covered, and 6 hours has been given of learning only and only on real estate. So it's really great. So very well structured program, and my hats off, or I should salute to all the participants who are attending this webinar. Morning 8 o'clock, more than 100 participants have already logged in. So really great to your dedication on learning. So before start of the session, I just want to clear that as Rajesh ji has said, or as Pranav has said, that real estate is always a complicated topic. And whatever we are discussing, the view may change after the session also. That may be possible, because whatever we are going to discuss may be a notification, that is Rajesh has already told about 4/2019, or maybe 4/2018, or whatever 5/2019. But recently the judgment of Gujarat High Court has also came. So what I have done in my structuring on my presentation, we will discuss first about the notification 4/2019, which is giving a basis, presuming that this notification is a valid notification, because practically most of the builders are now paying taxes as per this notification. And at the end, we will also discuss the Gujarat High Court judgment recently, what has come as far as the direction toward value of land is concerned. So we presume we are not going to discuss in the beginning about the Gujarat High Court judgment, but at the end we will cover. And whatever questions you have, so I request participants to give your questions only and only in question answer session, because it will be difficult to find out in chat as well as in question answer. So that we will try to cover at the end. So thank you very much. Now moving to real estate. So basically, real estate, government is also thinking how to tax this thing, because it is very difficult for government to recover GST, to recover income tax, to recover stamp duty and various kind of taxes. Land revenue is there. Various kind of taxes are there on this. So whether the construction is a service or not, that is the first and the basic questions need to be answered. So that they have given in schedule 2, where they are saying that what are the activities or transactions to be treated as supply of goods or supply of services. There in para 2, they have mentioned that land and building means any lease, tenancy, easement, license to occupy land is a supply of services. and any lease or letting out of building, including a commercial, industrial, or residential complex for business or commerce, either wholly or partly, is a supply of service. That's what they have given in Schedule 2. Later on, in exemption notification 12/2017, they have exempted licensing or leasing out of a residential complex for the residential purpose. That has been carved out, or that you can say exemption has been given. But apart from that, any leasing out of any building or property shall be treated as taxable service. Again, in para 5 of Schedule 2, deemed supply of service, I am not covering entire Schedule 2 because I am covering the relevant portion only, which will be useful to us. We say that renting of immovable property shall be treated as supply of service. Then construction of complex, building, civil structure, or part thereof, including a complex or building intended for sale to buyer, wholly or partly, except where the entire consideration has been received after issuance of completion certificate, where required by the competent authority or after its first occupation, whichever is earlier. So, nutshell, it says that before occupation certificate, completion certificate, if builder is selling any property in an under construction building, that will be treated as deemed supply of service. And for the purpose expression competent authority, also they have defined, and such certificate from the authority from any of the following, which cover architect, chartered engineer, licensed surveyor, or the respective local body of the city or town or village or development or planning authority. This will be treated as competent authority who will issue the completion certificate. And in Bombay, the occupancy certificate will also be treated as building completion certificate, because in Maharashtra, various cities, they are not issuing a completion certificate, but the occupation certificate. And in many cases, the builders are taking only the occupation certificate. So they have also clarified in FAQ saying that the occupation certificate means a building completion certificate. And the expression construction is very, very wide, and which include addition, alteration. So not only the new construction, but any alteration, any replacement or remodeling of any existing civil structure will also be treated as construction. So this is what broadly has been covered as far as the construction is concerned. Then sale of building. So in nutshell, if the receipt, any receipt of consideration. So suppose if you have received a property, maybe a value of 10 crore rupees, but a builder has received rupees 10 before issuance of completion certificate, then it will be treated as supply of service. Then it will be treated as supply of service. So if he has entered into a contract or he has received a token money even of rupees 10 before issuance of completion certificate, then GST shall be payable on this supply of service on the entire amount. That is entire amount of not only the money received before the issuance of completion certificate, but even after the compliance issue of completion certificate. But if it is issued after issuance of completion certificate, if any contract has been entered or maybe any money has been received, then it will not be neither a supply of service nor supply of goods. It means no GST shall be payable on the same. So construction of complex before its first occupation or issuance of building completion certificate, whichever is earlier. That's what we have to consider. Now work contract is very important. So work contract for the building Just a minute. Work contract again has been defined in section 2, 119, which is very important. It says the contract for building, construction, fabrication, completion, erection, installation, fitting out, improvement, modification, repair, maintenance, renovation, alteration, or commissioning of any immovable property, wherein transfer of property in goods is involved in execution of such contract, will be treated as work contract. So previously under the VAT law, even if related to any movable property where the goods or service both has been supplied, then also it was treated as work contract service. But under the GST regime, only and only if it is related to immovable property, then only it will be treated as work contract. And work contract shall be considered as supply of service, which is given in Schedule 2. Now, what shall be the time of supply as far as the work contract or construction service is concerned? The time of supply has been given in schedule in section 12, and we say that time of supply of service at the, in section 13, and it says the time of supply of service at the earliest of, if invoice is issued within 30 or 45 days in case of banking, then the date of invoice or date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. If invoice is not issued within the due date of that 30 or 45 days, then the date of completion of service or date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier, shall be the time of supply. This is in the normal circumstances. But as Rajesh Agrawalji has said that this contract, construction or maybe the work contract service, is a continuous supply of service. But what is continuous supply of service? That the service is provided or agreed to be provided continuously on recurrent basis under a contract for a period exceeding 3 months with periodic payment obligation, and as may be notified, it will be treated as continuous supply of service. The continuous supply of service, the provisions are different for as far as time of supply is concerned. So what are the provisions? If due date of payment is ascertainable, if it is yes, the before or within time prescribed on which the payment is liable to be made. And if due date of payment is not ascertainable, then before or within the time prescribed on which the payment is received. To take an example of a renting contract. So you have given any property on rent. Commercial property I'm talking because as we have already discussed that any property given on rent, a residential in a residential complex for the purpose of residence is exempt. The commercial property given in the on the rent. So what is the service? You are giving a tenancy right or license to use that premises. And that, if you see, you are giving on the date of agreement. The agreement may be of 5 years. So what will be the date of completion of service? So you are giving the property, you are giving the right on day 1 itself. So even if the continuous supply service contract separate time of supply is not there, then entire contract value will be taxable on day 1 itself. That is, whatever money you are going to receive during the 5 years over a month on month, it may become taxable on day 1. To take care of this situation, they have come out with the continuous supply of service, and where they are saying that if as per contract every month you are going to receive on the first of the month rupees 1 lakh as a rent. So this 1 lakh will be liable for tax on day 1, on the first day of the month. Even whether you have received money or not, irrespective of that, shall be liable for tax on the date what has been prescribed, that what has been given in this provision. And if nothing has been prescribed, so whenever you have received the money, that will be the time of supply. And if the payment is linked to the completion of an event, then the time of supply shall be before or within the time prescribed of completion of event. So again, we will understand this with the help of example. Take an example of builder. You are booking a property under construction. And builder says that each slab you have to pay 5%. So on first completion of first slab, that 5 rupees is payable by you to the builder. So whether you have paid the money to the builder or not, but builder, developer is liable to pay on the date of completion of that slab. So to understand this better, there is a developer, there is a contractor, and they have entered on 10th July itself. And as per the terms of the contract, it says that entering into the contract, 25 lakh rupees to be paid, that is on 15th July 2021. Stage 1 is completion of fifth slab is 50 lakhs on 30th September. Stage 2 says completion of 20th floor, that is 75 lakh on 30th December 21. I am just giving this hypothetical example. And stage 3, that after issuance of completion certificate or occupancy certificate, need to pay 1 crore rupees, that is on 31st March. And possession will be given by the builder, and that time he will be required to pay rupees 2 crore. So this is on the completion of event, this has been given. So on day 1, whether the 25 lakh rupees has been given by the developer, by the owner, buyer or not, this will be liable for tax on 15th July itself. On completion of fifth floor, fifth slab, 50 lakhs will be payable. So suppose maybe on 30th September, the owner, the buyer has made the payment maybe on 5th November, but GST shall be payable by the builder on 30th September itself, because it's as per this contract, this is say so. So generally what builders are doing is they are saying after completion, because what happen is once they complete the slab, then they issue the letter, and then the money will be received, demand note will be issued, and then the money will be received. So it is advisable that you can write in the contract that you shall be liable for this maybe 50 lakh rupees in our example, or maybe this 75 lakh rupees in our example, after 15 days or after 10 days on completion of this slab. So you will get some leverage, because on the same date, you cannot collect the money from the buyer, but you are liable to pay the GST on the same. So I hope you have understood this. Now I am clear that what is the provision as far as the time of supply is concerned. I am not still going into notification 4/2019, because it is not amending the time of supply, but it's amending the payment of tax. Now the value of supply. The value of supply has been given in section 15, and section 15(2) says that you should include the following values, that is taxes levied other than GST Act if charged separately. So now here the question is, and I'm expecting that participants may write the answer in a chat box, that stamp duty. So sometimes stamp duty is paid by the builder and he charged separately to the buyer. So whether, and it is not covered under the GST law. So whether GST shall be payable by the builder on the stamp duty. No. Mahesh Balla, Tiwari ji, Girish ji, Tejas, everyone is saying no. The answer is because this is not, yeah, Kirit, Kirti Kumarji has rightly said that it is the reimbursement of expenditure. Mahesh Ballaji also said that it may be reimbursement. Absolutely correct. So it is the liability of the buyer to pay the stamp duty. And on his behalf, if he is making the payment, then GST shall not be chargeable on this. But any taxes other than GST, if charged separately and which is the liability of the builder, then GST shall be payable. Another is that incidental expenses. Incidental expenses charged by the supplier to the recipient, including any amount charged for anything done by the supplier in respect of the supply of goods or services at the time or before or at the time of supplied of service, then GST shall be payable on the same. Another important thing is that interest. Interest or late fees or penalty or delayed payment of any consideration or any supply shall be liable for GST. So what happen is many time builder says that you are liable to pay GST. In our previous example only you can see that it says that you are liable to pay GST, pay amount of 50 lakhs on 30th September. And we have discussed that the buyer has paid on 5th November. So builder has demanded interest on that 35 days delay. So interest or any late fees or penalty for delayed payment of any consideration for any supply, GST shall be payable on the same. So this kind of GST interest will be payable. Another question here arises, subvention scheme. So what happened is builder enter into a contract with the buyer saying that you pay 20% now and 80% on possession. And at the back end, what he does is that he will ask buyer to go to the bank or he may take the loan from the bank and he will make the payment of EMI interest till the date of completion. That what may be called as subvention scheme. So I request participants, what is your view on this subvention scheme? So whatever interest the builder is paying to the bank, whether the GST is payable on the same. So I'm expecting answer in the chat box you can write. And Vinayji meanwhile has asked the question if as per agreement stamp duty expenses borne by builder. So generally it is to be paid by buyer. That is what the view I am holding. So yes. So Mukesh ji, Avanti has written, repeat the question. Sometime builder enter into a contract with the buyer saying that you 20% you pay now and balance 80% you pay at the time of possession, no slab-wise payment. But meanwhile, builder enter into a contract with the bank and saying that per slab you give me the money or maybe you give the loan to the buyer, but the interest of that period will be borne by the builder. So again, it depends on the contract and rightly written by Himanshu Gupta ji, is saying that if it is the liability of the buyer to pay interest, but the builder is paying, so GST should be payable on the same. So if it is loan has been taken by the buyer, then definitely GST shall be payable on the same. But if it is taken by the builder in his own capacity from the low bank, then GST shall not be payable by the builder. So it's all depend on how you enter into a contract with the bank.
Sir, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Here with us, Nilima Madam, Nilima Nagarkar, Deputy Commissioner from State GST Department. Welcome, Madam.
Good morning
Madam,
and welcome, madam. So you want to say something, madam, or you want to say, give your views also?
I think continue, sir.
So she's here, so it will be appropriate that if she can address to the participant, Rajeshji, Nilima madam.
I think there is no mic, sir, with that facility na. Desktop पे mic नहीं है. So
Okay,
you, yes, you continue.
okay. Okay, now time of supply in case of interest. So now we will see here. So amount due, suppose 75 lakh rupees, and interest on due on late payment is 1,10,000 rupees. So total 76 lakh rupees. So as per continuous supply of service, the 75 lakh shall be payable by the builder on 30th September in our example, what we have seen. And suppose on 5th November, he has issued a debit note for the interest amount of 1,10,958. Whatever may be the date, I'm not going into the exact calculation, but for understanding. But the buyer has made the payment of this interest on March 22. Then in GST on this interest shall be payable at the time of receipt of interest amount, not at the time of issuance of invoice or issuance of debit note. That is the basic difference as far as the time of supply is concerned on the interest on late payment. And if any discount has been offered by the builder to the buyer upfront, or maybe at the time of at the time of possession, but it is decided pre-supply, then the discount पे GST shall not be leviable. And now what shall be the value as far as these transactions are concerned? And it says that consideration, if it is wholly in money, then whatever may be the such consideration. So if amount is totally in money with the unrelated party, third party buyer, then whatever may be the consideration, whether it is market value, whether it is less than market value, whether it is more than market value, whatever may be the transaction value, GST shall be payable on that. Another possibility is that it may be possible that transaction may not be wholly in money. So maybe in case of joint development agreement, redevelopment, or maybe the builder is giving something in kind. Maybe he builder has entered into a contract with the work contractor and he's saying that, okay, I am going to give you instead of money, I will get the contract is suppose 10 crore rupees. I will give you 5 crore rupees and this slab wise, and 5 crore worth of flat also, one flat I will also give you in this building. So then consideration is not wholly in money, maybe partly in kind and partly in money. So in this kind of scenario, the valuation provision says section says that rule says that it should be the open market value of such property. So not we should not go on the what is the value of that contract. And what is the open market value? Again, it has been defined. Means the full value in money, excluding the GST, payable by a person in a transaction where the supplier and the recipient of the supply are not related and the price is the full consideration to obtain such supply at the same time when the supply being value is made. So suppose in our example, we have taken a flat has been sold or maybe has been given by a builder to a work contractor. So similar flat in the same building sold by a builder at the same time So at the same time, to another buyer, the same value has been taken to pay GST on the whatever flat has been given by the builder to the work contract. If total of money and money equivalent consideration in kind. Third possibility, if this too is not possible, the value of supply of like kind and quality. Again, it has been defined as means any other supply of goods or services or both made under similar circumstances that in respect of the characteristic, quality, quantity, functional components, material and reputation of goods or services or both first mentioned is the same or closely on substantial resemblance that supply of goods or services are both. Again, do you think that it is possible to find out like kind or quality in case of a builder? So if any building is constructed by Kumar Builder or maybe constructed by L&T, can you say it is a similar service or same kind or same quality? There may be a view facing a river or maybe hill or maybe forest and another view facing a city traffic. Can you say it is like kind or like quality? So again, in my personal view, it is very, very, very difficult to say that one flat is of the similar quality or similar kind with another property. So very difficult in my view. But these are the general provision, as Rajesh has said, that there is no specific provision as far as builder because GST law has been created for general. So I'm just discussing, and if this is not possible, all these three, then it says that 110% of cost or other reasonable amount. So this will be the transaction, this will be the value as far as So now coming to specific provisions relating to developer and builder. So I've just given the sale of under construction flat or unit under the service tax regime. Service tax was payable 4.5%, VAT was leviable at 1%, so total tax was 5.5%. Again, the value was different and I'm not going into that detailing. Time of supply was different in service tax and VAT. Later on when GST came, then what they have done is that they have said that 18% on the sale of flat, and if it is affordable housing and covered under Prime Minister Awas Yojana or various other schemes they have given, and in that GST shall be payable at the rate of 12%. And by way of notification, they have given a deduction toward value of land, 1/3 deduction toward value of land. So here, where in entire my presentation, wherever I am giving GST rate, that is 12% is actually it is 18%, 1/3 deduction toward land. So suppose a flat value is 3 crore, 1/3 if you deduct, then the taxable value will come to 2 crore, and 2 crore if you apply 18%, so it may come to 12% on entire 3 crore. So that's why I'm giving it 12%. And 8% also derived like that only, that if it is affordable housing and the value is 30 lakhs, so 1/3 deduction toward land, and on 20 lakh you will apply 12% rate. So effectively it is 8% on 8% on 30 lakh. Similarly, from 1st April 2019, and this rate, what 12% or 8% I'm saying, was applicable from 1st July 2017 till 31st March 2019. And from 1st April, ITC was also available to the builder on this during this period. From 1st April 2019, the GST shall not be applicable to the builder and the rate of tax has been reduced to 7.5% and or 1.5%. 7.5% in case of normal building and 1.5% in case of affordable housing. What is affordable housing? We will see a little bit later. But here I am showing 5% and 1% because again in that it is shown as 1/3 deduction toward value of land. Joint development owners area, again it is exempt or maybe under RCM. We will go, I'm just giving a summary here, but we will go in detail. Again, joint development owners area, it may be construction 12%, 8% if it is affordable housing earlier, and WCT it was 18%. Then redevelopment of society, rehabilitation of flat, work contract was leviable, and now it is exempt or maybe under RCM. And then the sale of under construction commercial unit, it is 12%. And still it is 12% with ITC. So no change as far as the commercial property, standalone commercial property is concerned. Now going to notification 4/2019, where it says, and we presume that this is a correct interpretation and this is the correct notification. Based on that presumption, as I said, I have prepared my presentation, so we will discuss that. Nandini ji has asked that affordable is 1.5% and effective is 1%. Yes, absolutely yes. What you have understood that effective rate is 1%, but actually it is 1.5% because 1/3 is toward value of deduction of land. Then if it is a commercial apartment is a part of residential project, so what they have given is REP and RREP, that is residential real estate residential project and real estate project. These are the two terminology what they have given in notification 4/2019. And if it is the carpet area of commercial apartment is equal to or less than 50% of total carpet area of all apartment. If answer is yes, so it will be treated as RREP, that is residential real estate project, and effective tax rate is 1% or 5%. I have already mentioned that all the rate mentioned are net of after land reduction. And if it is not, if the commercial area in the project is more than 15%, then it will be treated as REP, that is real estate project, and effective GST shall be 12% on the commercial. And balance residential, it will be 1% or 5% as the case may be. So all this terminology has been also defined. The term apartment has been given, and it says that apartment, whether called block, chamber, dwelling unit, flat, office, showroom, shop, godown, premises, suite tenements, units, or any other name, means a separate or self-contained part of any immovable property, including one or more room or enclosed spaces located on one or more floor or any part thereof in a building or on a plot of land, used or intended to be used for any residential or commercial use such as residential, office, shop, showroom, godown, etc. And again, they have defined residential apartment shall mean an apartment intended for residential use as declared to the real estate RERA authority or to the competent authority. If as per RERA it is a residential apartment, then it will be a residential apartment. And commercial apartment shall mean an apartment other than residential apartment. So anything which is not residential apartment, maybe a club, maybe a school, maybe a college, maybe a hospital, maybe for the purpose of charitable purpose, will be treated as commercial apartment as far as this law is concerned, GST law is concerned. Anil Ronji has asked that flat booked in 2016, service tax paid, GST paid during 17. So we will cover this question little bit later.
Sir, as mentioned, question and answer we will take at the end, sir.
Yeah.
I request all participants to please write it down at your end. All your
Or maybe
photos.
you can post in a question and answer section right now also. So we will take at the end.
Yeah, it's okay, sir.
Okay. So this part already we have discussed. And if it is a commercial apartment standalone, then effective GST rate at the it will be 12%. Again, 1/3 deduction toward value of land is there. Otherwise, it is 18%. But here in standalone, GST ITC shall be applicable. And in this case also, in case of real estate project, not RREP, where the commercial property is more than 15% in a project. Suppose maybe 40% commercial and 60% is residential. Then on commercial portion, ITC is available to the builder and he shall be liable to pay GST effectively on 12% at the rate of 12%. And on residential part, it may be 1% or 5% as the case may be. Again, it is very difficult to bifurcate how much you are putting in for residential or commercial, because as far as the foundation part is concerned, common area is concerned, it is used commonly by the residential as well as maybe a commercial user. So maybe the parking area, maybe the garden area, all this may be used by both. So how to take the credit, again, it will be a big challenge. But in my view, what you can do is on the proportionate of the carpet area of commercial into residential, you can take the credit. Moving further, under construction, if it is a new project, and if the carpet area is less than or equal to 60 square meter in a metro city or 90 square meter in a non-metro city. So what is metro and what is non-metro city? So whether Pune is metro city, you can write in a chat box. Pune is a metro city. Someone is saying yes. Most of you are saying no. So we will go. So here the importance is carpet area. What you mean by carpet area? Means as defined in RERA law. And once you go to the RERA law, तो carpet area as per RERA is आपकी जो घर की चार दीवारी है उसके बीच का जितना भी एरिया है will be treated as carpet area. So previously what we used to understand is wherever you can put a carpet, that should be a carpet area, means internal wall of your flat should be excluded. But now, as per RERA, the internal wall of your flat, your property should also be included to be calculate the carpet area. So that is 60 square meter or 90 square meter, as the case may be, whatever we are discussing, will be covered in the carpet area, include the internal wall also. And again, metro city has been defined as Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, NCR, Noida, Ghaziabad, etc., Hyderabad, Kolkata, and Mumbai, whole of MMR. So it specifically shows that Pune, Pimpri Chinchwad, all these areas are considered as non-metro area. And since it is non-metro area, the carpet area should be equal to or less than 90 square meter. And again, at the same time, we will also discuss the value of gross amount. Because if you see this, and if you see that it is for Pune, if it is less than 90 square meter, if answer is yes, then the value of the property is less than rupees 45 lakh. then the effective GST rate is 1%, that is 1.5% less the value of deduction toward value of land. That's why effective is 1%. But if it is more than 45 lakh, then effective GST rate shall be 5%. And if it is more than 90 square meter, upfront it will be 5%. So how to calculate the value, gross value of flat, that is 40 lakh, 5 lakh, what we were discussing. So it further says that we should consider consideration charge for flat, amount charged for transfer of land or undivided share of land as the case may be, including by way of lease or sublease, or any amount charged by promoter from the buyer of the apartment, including preferential location charges, development charges, parking charges, common facility charges, etc. All shall be included in rupees 45 lakh for calculating this. And further, FAQ 4, paragraph FAQ issued on 4th May 19, clarifying this notification. In para 4, they have cleared that it shall not include stamp duty, maintenance, because builder is required to maintain the property till the society is formed and it will be handed over to the society. So what builder is doing is they are collecting the maintenance charges, or maybe they upfront collect the deposit for maintenance or maintenance for common area along with the flat. So this is not related to construction of property. So this all value shall be excluded from the value. And again, promoter means as per RERA. And again, carpet area is also defined and promoter is also defined. I'm not going into detail and jargon of promoter. Yeah. So any new project which is started on or after 1st April 2019, but we have already discussed that this is a whatever we are discussing is a continuous supply of service contract. And in case of continuous supply of service contract, the contract may continue for years and years, maybe more than 3 months. Then it will fall under continuous supply of contract. So maybe on 1st April 2019, there may be a possibility of ongoing project. So there the option has been given to the promoter. Promoter include developer, builder, maybe landowner. All these are treated as promoter. And if promoter is opting for old GST rate, what is old GST rate? We have already discussed 8% or 12%. 8% in case of, you can say, affordable housing, and 12% in case of residential as well as commercial housing. Why builder will choose for old rate? Because in the old rate, GST credit is available to him. In new, GST credit is not available. So if promoter is opting for old GST rate, so GST rate shall be this. And and promoter not opting for old GST rate, that construction and booking started on or before 1st April 2019. So maybe whatever amount you have entered into a contract on or before 1st April 2019, but whatever the as per the time of supply, whatever money you are going to receive or whatever money is due on or April 1st April 2019, on that new rate will be applicable, and on the previous whatever time of supply has been figured earlier, GST shall be payable at the rate of old rate. So if construction or booking is started before 1st April 2019, project eligible for GST at the rate of 18% up to 31st March 2019, then effective GST rate shall be 1%. So take an example. Under the previous law, till 31st March 2019, there was no concept of any value of 45 lakh. That has been given in only and only in this 1st April 2019 notification. So there was a project which was up to 60 square meter, maybe of 55 square meter. The value of that flat in that project is 50 lakhs. And builder has opted for 8% scheme in that. That is affordable. It is falling under the Prime Minister Awas Yojana, and that's why he was paying GST at the rate of 8%. So if we continue in the old project, he will liable to pay GST at the rate of 8%. But what will happen once he will opt for a new project, whether he shall be liable to pay GST at the rate of effective rate of 1% or effective rate of 5%? You can write in a chat box. Only one answer I have received. Sri Krishna Gupta ji has written 1%. Ajit has written 5%. Yogesh has written 5%. Okay. So the example what I have taken here is, even if the value, it is an ongoing project, it should be ongoing project. That is the first thing what we have to understand. Builder entered into a contract prior to 1st April 2019, and it was covered under the Prime Minister Awas Yojana, and builder was paying GST at the rate of 88%, and the value may be more than 5%, 45 lakh in this kind of scenario. Then also GST, in my view, shall be payable only and only at the rate of 1%, effective rate of 1%, irrespective, because it is an ongoing project and the flat has been sold prior to 1st April 2019. But in the ongoing project, if the flat has been sold and builder has opted for new scheme and flat has been sold on or after 1st April 2019 at the value of 50 lakhs, then he shall be liable to pay GST at the rate of 5%. But old flat has been sold, then GST shall be leviable only and only at 1%. Another is if construction and booking started before 1st April 19, no, then effective GST rate is 12% in case of commercial. And what is ongoing project? Again, it says that the commencement certificate has not been received prior to that. What is the commencement certificate? We have already seen, so I'm not going into detail. Where the commencement certificate is not required to be issued, then the completion certificate has not been issued, or first occupation of project has not been taken place on or before 31st March 2019. In many projects, we have seen that part occupancy certificate is issued. Then what will happen? So suppose the building what we are going to construct maybe of 20 flooring, and builder has taken a completion certificate or maybe the occupancy certificate up to 10th floor, and then the 11th and subsequent floor construction is going on. So in that scenario, whatever upper floors are there, for that builder can go for a new scheme, and it will be treated as ongoing project only. But the building till 10th floor, because it has already been completed, so till 10th floor, whatever flat has been going to be sold after 1st April 2019, then no GST shall be payable on the same. Then apartment being constructed under the project have been partly or wholly booked on or before 31st March 2019. So there has to be at least one flat should be booked by the builder before 31st March 2019. And explanation: for the purpose of subclause A and B above, the construction of the project shall be considered to be have started on or before 31st March 19 if the earthwork for site preparation for the project has been completed and the excavation for foundation has started. So it's not you can't say ki I have received the IOD or I have received the completion commencement certificate. It means it is an ongoing project on 31st March itself, 31st March 2019. To be ongoing project, it is one of the condition that at least that site preparation work has been completed. Suppose it may be a redevelopment project. The building has been demolished. Then you can't say it is ongoing project. Building should be demolished and the excavation work for foundation should also start on or before 31st March to be treated as ongoing project. And what is commencement certificate? Competent authority already we have seen. An apartment should be booked on or before 31st March 2019. Also, one of the condition has been given in the previous slide. Again, it has been defined is saying that shall mean an apartment which meet all the following three conditions, namely part of the supply of construction on which the time of supply on or before 31st March 2019. So as we have seen, what is the time of supply? Already we have seen in the our slides. So you should receive some money or you should enter into a contract at least before 31st March 2019. And in case of redevelopment of the society, it is deemed to be satisfied because you have already booked a flat for the existing buyer. So in case of redevelopment of the property, even if no flat has been booked for outside party, then also it will be treated as the supply that it has been booked. And it is not only you can say ki only I have booked the flat, but you should receive one installment at least in your bank account to be treated as ongoing project. You can't say, okay, I received a check on 31st March 2019, which I have deposited on 2nd of April 2019. So I have received the money and I have booked the flat. So it will not be treated as ongoing project. An allotment letter or sale agreement or any similar document evidencing booking of the apartment has been issued before 31st March 2019. So all these three conditions to be treated as booked, to be completed before 31st March 2019, to be treated as ongoing project. So in case of ongoing project, I'm just summarizing that you have option to go for old rate, that is 12% or 8% as the case may be, as well as you have an option to go in the new scheme, that is 1% or 5% without taking any ITC. But one-time option has been given to you to opt for an option to be exercised by 20th May 2019. If not exercised, then it will be deemed that you are going into the new rate, new scheme only. So it is by default, everyone is in the new scheme. Only if you want to go for old scheme, then you have to opt for the option. And all GST under new scheme has to be paid in cash only. You can't pay any ITC. So suppose if you have any ITC balance on 31st March 2019 in case of ongoing project, so you will say, okay, I have some carry forward ITC. So can I make the payment for the month of April in the new scheme? I'm going for new scheme from the my carry forward ITC. It is not allowed. Again, the work contract. Commercial apartment, GST rate shall be 18%. Residential, if it is affordable and the carpet area of affordable is more than 50% of the total carpet area, then work contractor will charge 12%. Otherwise, he will charge 18%. And in case of any other, it will be 18%. So how the builder is saying that I have a affordable housing and my 60% of the area is affordable. And he has given a contractor to the work contractor, contract to the work contractor. So how the work contractor will come to know that 60% is affordable or not? Any mechanism?
Declaration we have to take from the builder.
Yes, declaration from the builder has to be taken and we have to rely on the builder only. So in case of any project has 60% affordable and 40% non-affordable, in that scenario, work contractor has to charge GST on 60%, on 60% portion 12% and balance 40% on 18%. Later on, declaration has been given by the builder saying that my more than 50% shall be affordable housing. But later on, at the end, after the completion of the project, it is found that the value of that property has been increased and he is able to sell the flat not at 45 lakh, but maybe at 50 lakh, 55 lakh also. So now it is turned out to be 40%, 45% as others. Sorry, affordable only remain 45% and 55% will be now others. Then what the work contractor will do? Whether he is liable to pay GST on the differential amount of that 6%. You can write in a chat box. Only one answer I have received. Om Prakash Patil ji said no. Yes, Agrawal ji said that it is the liability of the builder. Correct. To be paid by builder under RCM. The provision is very clear that if it is turn out not to be affordable, more than 50, less than 50% is affordable, then in that scenario, the differential on differential value, the builder is liable to pay GST under reverse charge. So work contractor who has no control over the affordable, non-affordable, he has only control that he is constructing less than 45, less than that 60 square meter, and in case of Pune 90 square meter property. So it is very clear that under RCM, the developer will pay. So as far as the work contractor is concerned, he is not having any concern over this. Then in case of TDR FSI long-term lease premium, how GST shall be leviable, payable. So from 1st April 2019 onwards, exemption has been granted in respect of development right, TDR, FSI, and leasehold premium upfront. That is, lease period of 30 years or more, used for construction of residential property liable to GST. No such exemption in case of commercial. Exemption to be applied on transfer of development right pursuant to joint development agreement, whether the area share or revenue share for residential complex for sale allotted to the landowner. Development right, TDR, FSI, leasehold land used for following will be still liable for GST at the rate of 18%, that is construction of commercial premises, because there the ITC is available to the builder. So there is no exemption has been given. Construction of factory, corporate house, mall, commercial complex or letting out, etc. for owner use, own use, then also that TDR FSI will be liable for GST. And construction of residential complex intended for sale after completion. In GDA, redevelopment, transfer of development right, landowner society is exempt, but rehab construction services provided by developer to the landowner society's SRA will still be taxable at 12% or 18%. In GDA, owner purchase TDR liable to pay GST on the same. His output is either exempt or developer will pay under RCM. So there it may be a possibility that double taxation will apply. What they have given is that generally what happens in case of GDA, the owner of the property purchases the FSI or maybe the TDR in his own name. And if he purchases TDR from third party or maybe from third party, not from government, So this is not exempted at all. And on this, the owner will be liable to pay GST. But as far as the owner is concerned, as we have seen that owner portion, whatever services is providing to the developer is exempt. So there may be a possibility of double taxation. This has not been taken care as far as my view is concerned. And in case of JDA, builder shall pay, developer shall pay on the landlord portion area and the time of supply at the time of completion of first occupation, whichever is earlier, and value of supply on the value of total amount charged for similar apartment in the project to independent buyer nearest to the date of transfer of development right. So to understand this better, there are two promoters in a JDA. One is the developer, another is the owner of the land. Owner of the land transfer TDR, FSI, additional FSI, etc. to the developer, which is again a service. And developer in turn is giving a constructed property to the landowner. Maybe part of the constructed property he will sell and part of the constructed property he will give to the landowner. So both are providing service to each other. We have already seen that in case of residential complex, this service, that is landowner promoter to the developer promoter, is exempt. But the construction service, what has been developer is providing to landowner is not exempt at all. So developer will charge GST on this property what is transferred by him to the landowner. I'm not going into the ITC part because it is going to be taken by Ravi Somani tomorrow. So I'm skipping this ITC portion. So before, so what law says is that when builder is liable to pay GST on the constructed property, what he is transferring to the landowner, promoter. So law says that it should be liable, GST shall be payable by the developer on the obtaining of the completion certificate or the first occupation, whichever is earlier. So the development right has been transferred by the landowner on day one, or maybe after 3 years, the building may be completed. So after 3 years, builder shall be liable to pay GST on that. And how much GST he shall liable to pay? Developer, how to value that? Again, law says that the value shall be the first property, whatever the builder has sold, not to the existing tenant, not to the existing owner, but to the third party, independent third party. The same value to be taken. So suppose, take an example, I have given one flat to the owner and similar flat I have sold at the time of or near to the date of transfer of development right to third party at 1 crore rupees, which is before 3 years of obtaining the completion certificate. At the time of completion certificate, the similar value, the same builder is selling at 1.5 crore rupees. But law says that developer promoter will pay GST on the first flat what he has sold to independent buyer, that is on 1 crore, he is liable to pay GST at the time of obtaining of the completion certificate of first occupation, whichever is earlier. So he will pay GST on 1 crore rupees at the time of completion certificate, not at the time of first sale of the flat. The value of the first sale of flat will be taken and the time of supply or the GST shall be payable, not the time of supply, but the payment of GST shall be on the completion certificate date. So now half the transfer of TDR, FSI, additional FSI, long-term lease premium, as I said, it is exempt. So again, we will understand with the help of this graph. So it will be easier for us to understand. So suppose there is a property of 100 flat and developer has given 40 flats to the owner and he has sold 30 flats before the occupancy certificate and 30 flats are unsold. And we presume that value of each flat is 1 crore rupees only for our better understanding. Because he has sold 30 flats, so some flat he may have sold or lesser value at the time of first booking, and near to the date of completion certificate, he may have sold at higher value. But we presume that it will be sold at same value. So law says that whatever property has been sold till the date of occupation certificate, on that value, the development right will be exempt. So here, out of 100 flat, he has sold 30 flats. So how much? So suppose if the project size is 10,000 square feet and each flat are having of the same area. So how much development right will be exempt? It will be 3,000 square feet, 7,000 square feet, or entire 10,000 square feet will be exempt. You can write in a chat box. Okay. Kejriwal ji has said 3,000. Jugal Doshi ji has said 7,000. Arif said 3,000 exempt. Mukesh ji said 7,000. So views are divided. So as we have said in our slide also, when we were discussing ongoing project, in case of ongoing project, we have said that flat to be sold, and we said that in case of redevelopment of the project, it will be treated as sold. So this 40 flat, what has been allotted by the developer to the landowner, in my view, it is also sold by the developer to the landowner. So this 40 flat has sold and 30 actually he has sold. So 7,000 square feet, to the tune of that, it will be treated as exempt. So as I said, 7,000 will be treated as exempt, and this 3,000 whatever unsold, on that GST shall be payable. How to calculate the value of GST on this? Again, it is a big question. So what is TDR, FSI, all this has been given. I'm not going into detail, but it says that so whatever may be the unsold flat at the time of getting the occupation certificate, the value of TDR, FSI shall be taken as the value of that's a flat which has been first flat which has been sold by the builder. So whatever may be the first flat sold by the builder, the value of that flat, suppose 1 crore का जो उसने flat first flat बेचा है, तो जो unsold flat है 30 unsold flat, the value 30 multiplied by 1 crore, the value shall be 30 crore. And in our example, since it is more than 45 lakh, it will be 5% of 30 crore. On that GST shall be payable by the builder on this unsold flat. So many builders having a misconception in case of JDA, in case of redevelopment of the property, saying that मेरा जितना unsold flat है उस पे मेरा कोई भी GST नहीं लगेगा, तो I will sell all the flats after the completion certificate only in case of JDA. In that scenario, again, there will be a challenge for claiming exemption in respect of development right, how you are going to value the same. Because unless you have a first flat sold before the occupancy certificate or near to the date of development right, what value you will take of the development right. So it is better. And again, it is easier to say that you take the completion certificate, but once the completion certificate in case of JDA will be taken, the builder in this example, what we have taken is liable to pay GST on this 40 flat, what is going to allot to the landowner, and the 30 flat, what is unsold by the builder on entire 70 flat. So he should have a huge outflow of money at the time of obtaining a completion certificate. That also needs to be taken in view. So in nutshell, you can guide your builder client that whether you sold the flat in case of GDA, because what I have seen that mostly in case of Pune or in case of Bombay, most of the JDAs are taking place, or maybe the redevelopment are taking place. In both the scenarios, entire property, whether you sell before OC or after OC, GST shall be payable by the builder. But in case of before he sold, he can collect that GST from the builder. But if he sell after OC, then he will not be able to collect the money from the buyer. So that call he has to take. Again, instead of landowner, there may be a possibility that in case of JDA, the developer is saying that we will share the revenue, we will not share the area. So he will not allot any area, but he will say that, and as per agreement, buyer is paying maybe the 40% portion to the landowner and 60% portion to the developer, and tri-party agreements are entered. So both will charge GST on their portion of to the buyer, and there will not be any GST between the developer and the promoter, whatever transaction that is happening. That is another way of entering into a this kind of JDA. Again, as I said that in case I am now taking some questions. So what is the significance of term one-time option? Because as I said that one ongoing project, if you want to opt for the old scheme, the one-time option has been given. So what is the meaning of that? That once you have opted, you can't go back to the new scheme. If I opted for old scheme and after 1 month, I see that, okay, this scheme is not beneficial to me. So I cannot go to this. This question has not been answered. But in my view, again, government want to promote the new scheme. So this option should be available to the builder. Whether option is to be exercised qua unit, financial year, project wise, or entity wise, you can write in a chat box. So there is a builder who is having 3 ongoing projects. And one project, if he is opting for old scheme, so he has to opt for all 3 schemes. Yeah, it is to be project wise you can go. You can't go unit wise. Absolutely, Agrawalji, you have said that as per RERA project. Absolutely, yes. So it is project wise and not entity wise also. And project wise, once I'm saying, it means in the project there are 2 promoters. One is the owner project, landowner, and another is, suppose in case of GDA, another is the developer. If developer has opted for old scheme, so owner also has to opt for the old scheme only. He can't go for new scheme. So it has to be project wise only. Whether the different option can be exercised in respect of different building in the same plan layout, if as per RERA, if it is different, then yes, otherwise no. Whether one can exercise different option in respect of flats sold before 31st March 2019 and plot to be sold thereafter, no, that is also not allowed. You have to opt for only one scheme in the project. Builder are selling affordable housing and charging 8% tax till 31st March 2019. Due to cap of 45 lakh, the house of the project does not fall in the definition of affordable residential housing on or after 1st April 2019. Builder intend to opt for the old scheme of the taxation as there is a huge ITC accumulation for this project. What will be the applicable tax in such case? Whether it is 12% or 8%? You can write in the chat box. Same as old, it will be 8% only, as we have already discussed. In case builder does not opt for old scheme, in the above case, what will the tax rate applicable to the erstwhile affordable housing? Already we have discussed. So absolutely 1%. Already we have discussed, because even if value is 60 lakh, 70 lakh, but if it is less than 90 square meter or less than 60 square meter, as the case may be, he still want continue to pay 1% in case of ongoing projects. Another question is, builder rent is not paid by tenant due to COVID-19, because we know that 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, it was totally completely locked down. And tenant said that we are not going to pay any, commercial tenant said that we are not using this property, but we want to continue, but we will not pay any rent. So whether builder owner will be liable to pay GST or no? Yes, builder has to pay, owner has to pay GST on the same, even if he has not received, because it is a continuous supply of service contract. And irrespective whether you receive the money or not, whatever may be the due date of receiving money, you are liable to pay GST on the same.
Sir, we can issue invoice and credit note.
No, credit note, again, they have given a, Rajesh, they have said that credit note has to be issued only in 2 circumstances: whether you have not received the service, you have not supplied the service, or there is a deficiency in service. So definitely the property is in possession of tenant for that 4-5 months of complete lockdown. Whether he is using, not using, but the service has been supplied by the owner to the tenant. Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
So service has been supplied and there is no deficiency in service. You can't say my service was deficient due to lockdown. So in my personal view, the benefit is not available, but again, different views are possible. Suppose there is a head office in Pune and there is one property of a Pune company is also there in Jaipur, and which they want to let out. So whether he is required to take GST registration in Jaipur also? So in my view, he is not required to take any registration in Jaipur, because if you go to the provision, it says that the service supplied from which location. If you are entering into a contract from Pune office, you are supplying services of this renting service from Pune, and you can charge IGST on this contract. And again, you can, sorry. So I will take another question, related question. There is a head office of a builder or a work contractor in Pune, and there is a construction site at Jaipur. So again, for registration, a place from where the business, which place you need to register is the place from where the business is ordinarily carried on, and include a warehouse and a godown or any other place where a taxable person stores goods, supplies, or receive goods or services, or both. A place where a taxable person maintains his books of account, a place where a taxable person is engaged in the business through an agent by whatever name, that premises need to be registered. So in case of renting of premises at Jaipur, I am not satisfying any of this condition. So in my view, you are not required to take registration. In case of construction site at other place, again, a very tricky question, because when I'm visiting Pune, I have seen that the metro work is going on. And the construction contractor is storing his place on the construction site itself. So whether all this construction site need to be registered? What is your view? So how you will say that you should register all this construction site of metro? And for that, once you go for registration, they will say, okay, we require some address proof. So you will say road number 3, road number 5, shop from this survey number to this survey number. What address you will give? Again, that difficulty is there. Definitely you are storing goods, but you do not have any registration proof. Government is not allow you to take the registration and say that this is your property, because it is the property of the government on which road you are constructing a metro. So in my view, if you are not storing ordinarily is goods, then this premises is not required to be registered. And absolutely, in case of Jaipur, he can say that he can charge IGST. That is the view what I am holding. And that's why the place of supply is saying that where the services, in case of construction, immovable property, again it says like saying that inclusive, the place of supply is different, and the place from where the service has been supplied is different. That is what the entire theme of this GST law. If you go to IGST law also, that's why it is CGST and SGST, IGST, 3 laws are there. But in case of construction, again, you will have a difficulty in getting ITC for the whatever goods you are procuring or whatever may be. So it is advisable to take the registration at your construction site, maybe at Jaipur. But as far as renting of premises is concerned, in my view, registration is not required in that state. Again, a question is, there is a site in Pune, another site in Mumbai, and the consignment value, and you are transferring some goods from Pune to Mumbai. Your construction site, the value is 75,000. Whether this is a supply and whether e-way bill is required for this. What is the view? So it is definitely no supply. And again, the value is up to 1 lakh rupees, e-way bill is exempt within the same state that Maharashtra government has exempted. That's why e-way bill is not required. Otherwise, if that what value of that goods is more than 1 lakh rupees, then e-way bill is definitely required to be issued. What will happen if you are supplying goods from Pune side to Ahmedabad side? Whether it will be treated as supply? Yes or no? Yes, now it will be a supply, and definitely e-way bill is required. So suppose there is a construction of contract of rupees 2 crore and 65% of the work is completed and invoice is raised for rupees 1.3 crore, but payment is made to the contractor is only 1.2 crore rupees, and this 10 lakh rupees is the retention money. Is the 5% is the retained by the client and will be paid by the contractor when the actual work will complete, or maybe after 1 year of the completion of work. So now in this scenario, again the work contract is a continuous supply of service contract, and in that you have to define when the work contractor is eligible to get the money. and if your contract is foolproof and you say that he is required to get only 95% of the money instead of 100 rupees, 95% is only due once the certain portion is completed, then the work contractor will pay GST only on 95%, that is 1.2 crore, even if the work is completed of 1.3 crore. And the balance will be liable to pay once the entire work has been completed. So you can draft your contract in a better way to say to defer that GST liability in this kind of scenario. Rajesh ji has specifically asked me to discuss on sale of plotted land. So I will discuss two different kind of AAR. One is triple AR given by the Karnataka in case of Mark, where the contract is that the applicant has entered into joint development agreement with the landowner for development of land into residential layout along with specification and amenities. The consideration was agreed on revenue sharing basis in the ratio of 75% of landowner, and the applicant, that is the developer, will get the 25%. The cost of development shall be borne by the applicant. And pursuant to JDA, applicant has entered into an agreement with customer and sell the developed plot for the consideration. So what will happen in this case is there is a land, and for selling that land, some infrastructure, not infrastructure, you can say sewerage line or maybe road, etc. need to be constructed, and that plot need to be segregated. For that, that contractor has been appointed, and the contractor will not get any money from the owner of the land. Whatever plot will sold by the landowner, 25% out of that we will get. So there will be a tri-party agreement. The buyer will pay 75% to the owner and 25% to the applicant. So whether GST shall be leviable on this portion. So issue whether the activity of development of sale of plot, because ultimately whatever agreement they are entering with the buyer is the sale of plot only. So whether the activity of development of plot of sale of attract GST, if the answer of question number 1 is yes, for the purpose of taxable value, whether provision of Rule 31 shall be made applicable in ascertaining the value of land and supply of service. What is Rule 31 is, it says that 10%, 100 plus 10. An applicant's interpretation was it is a composite supply and predominant supply is sale of land and covered under Schedule 3, hence neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Law requires the applicant to transfer the ownership of the developmental work such as road, drain, water supply, park, open space, civic communities. Therefore, the applicant cannot have agreement for supply of service but can only enter agreement for sale of land. So judgment is that the landlord gives the right of using the land to the developer, in exchange of which the developer gives the service of the developing of that land to the owner. So here we have to understand that there is a contract between the owner and the contractor. Contractor is not providing any service, not selling, because he is not the owner of the land also. So he is not supplying any portion of land to the buyer. So he is supplying a construction service to the owner of the land, for which he is getting revenue in the form of sharing of. So it is a payment terms or payment terms from the owner. Owner of the land is saying this will be my payment terms. So there is a clear rendering of service by developer to the landowner. Rule 31 applies in the instant case, and the value of supply is equal to the total amount received by the applicant, which is equal to the 25% of the market value of each plot. A combination of two activities, that is one of which is not a supply under GST, cannot be said to be a composite supply. But once you go to the definition of composite supply, where it says the supply of two or more goods or two or more taxable goods or services. And in case of mixed supply, it is said that supply of goods or services, where the word taxable is missing. So here it's saying it is not a composite supply of transfer of land, because land is neither supply of good nor supply of service. A transaction shall be out of GST net only if the activity is exclusively dealing with transfer of title of ownership of land. If the transaction of sale of land is coupled with another activity such as infrastructure work, then exclusion will not be applied. So I agree with this triple AR, because here the contractor is not selling any plot because he is not the owner of the plot. Second, contractor is not supplying any services to the buyer, but he is supplying service to the owner of the plot, and for which the mechanism has been derived that 25% value he will get. So he is getting for his services in this form. So this is a service from the contractor to the landowner, and in my view, it will be taxable. There is another judgment of Gujarat AAR, where the applicant is having a vacant land outside the municipal area, on which he has some proposed business activity, and the applicant is having all necessary approval for the proposed project. As per the plan passing authority, the seller of the land is mandatorily required to develop a primary amenities like sewerage, drainage line, water line, electricity line, land leveling for road, pipeline facilities for drinking water, street light, telephone line, etc. The applicant will sell the individual plot to the different buyer without any construction on the same, but by providing these primary amenities as mentioned above, which are a mandatory required for approved plan passing authority. The issue whether GST is applicable on sale of plot of land for which, as per the requirement of approved by the Jila Parishad. Judgment in the AR is the seller charged the rate on super build-up basis and not the actual measure of the plot. The super build-up area includes the area used for common amenities, road, water tank, infrastructure on a proportional way. In other words, some common amenities, road and water tank, etc. is there. And GST is applicable on the plotted land. I do not agree with this judgment, because ultimately what he is selling is the developed plot of land, which is not a supply at all. There is a difference between the earlier judgment and this Gujarat AR judgment. In Gujarat AR judgment, the owner is getting the entire money from the buyer for sale of plot only. So in my view, this AR is not good AR, and there is no supply of service because it is purely a sale of land, and for sale of plotted land, he has to provide this kind of amenities, otherwise he is not in a position to sell. So there is no service element involved in this, and GST shall not be applicable. That is what my view is. Many times we have seen that builder come out with the scheme saying that along with the flat, I will also give you air condition installed, modular kitchen, fridge, TV, car, item given as free, or first few booking, lucky draw, etc. So whether it will be treated as composite or mixed supply, why I'm asking is that in case of composite supply, the principal supply, GST shall be applicable, what may be the tax applicable on the principal supply. But in case of mixed supply, it will be the higher rate of tax. So whether this will be a composite supply or mixed supply, you can write in a chat box. So again, the participants are divided. Some are saying mixed supply, some are saying composite supply. So again, I will give my view here is, so composite supply, you have to see what is the normal transaction happening. Suppose a modular kitchen. So he is giving along with all the kitchen plumbing, etc. So it is expected that the builder should provide all these things. Air condition, maybe a central air condition need to be installed at the property. So all this may come within the purview of composite supply. So maybe air condition is taxable, or maybe fridge is taxable at rate of 28%, and it may be a affordable housing. So maybe liable for 1%. The principal supply is sale of flat. So sale of flat shall be leviable at the rate of 1% only on entire value. But once you go to TV, or maybe once you go to the car, which generally no builder is providing, you can't say that it is to be consumed together. The purchase of flat has to come with the car. It is not necessary. Then it may go into mixed supply. And once you say it is a mixed supply, the higher rate of tax, that is the 28% entire construction, you have to pay GST. So you have to be very careful whatever freebies the developers are offering to the buyer. Again, the question is, the last question what I will take up is the value of land. So suppose flat value is 90 lakh rupees, and I'm presuming that this is a commercial property. So deemed value of land is 1/3, that is 30 lakhs. So taxable value is 60 lakhs, and on 60 lakhs, 18% GST shall be payable on the commercial property. So 540 shall be payable. This is what the law provides for. Even if for the residential also, the tax rate is 7.5% or maybe 1.5% on the taxable value. So recently, the Gujarat High Court, in case of Munjal Manish Bhai Bhatt case on 6th May, has given a verdict. The issue was deduction of 33% of value of land is constitutional before the court. What they held is that ad hoc rate of 33% cannot be applied for ascertaining the value of land for calculating goods or service portion in the sale of under construction flat. More so when the actual value of land is available in the contract. Government cannot rewrite the contract which is already entered by the two independent parties and try to find out the value of supply when it is specifically provided in the contract. GST law has prescribed valuation rule which are comprehensive enough to take care of various situations. Where the taxable value cannot be determined from the transaction value, ad hoc deduction of 33%, that is 1/3 toward the value of land, should be given as an option and not as a compulsion. That is what the High Court has held. And it is very beautifully drafted, and very detailed discussion has taken place in this judgment. So now what is the key takeaway from, or what is the next after this judgment? So in my view, if you are entering into a contract, so I was just discussing, Rajeshji, are you there? So I just discussing before the start of the session with Rajeshji, and Rajeshji said that in some area of Pune, the value of property may be 10,000 per square feet. Rajeshji?
Yeah, in city area, 10 to 12,000.
10 to 12,000, and at least maybe 5 to 6,000 in other areas.
Yes, sir, right.
So maybe the construction cost, maybe in 10,000 square feet, the construction cost may be actually 3,000. So whatever 7,000 or 6,000 square feet is there is maybe toward the value of land, or maybe the undivided portion in land. But out of 10,000, we are paying GST on 70,000 rupees or 60, 10,000 में से 70,000, 7,000 पे we are paying GST. But actually the GST should be payable on 3,000 rupees. And this is the position in various metro cities also, not only in Pune, where the construction cost is very less as compared to the sale value. So in my view, if you are drafting an agreement and saying that undivided portion in land is also transferred and the value of undivided portion in land is 7,000 per square feet and the construction is 3,000, then the builder can choose to pay GST on 3,000 itself, not on entire 7,000. That is what my personal view is. But your contract should be very well drafted. There should not be any flaws in that to take care of this. Again, this High Court judgment will go to Supreme Court, and there may be possibility that Supreme Court may accept. In my personal view, there is fair chance that Supreme Court will accept this judgment, but there may be a possibility that he may not accept. Then answer may change. So, but as of now, if any builder want to go with this, we have this option to pay lesser amount of GST. But again, once you are saying that I want to pay only on the construction, then it will not become a construction service. You will not pay 5% or maybe 1%. Then it will be treated as work contract service. And again, in work contract service, if it is affordable housing, then the work contract shall be leviable at 12%. Other than affordable housing, it will be 18%. Then GST, once we are saying that 3,000 rupees in our example, then 3,000 you have to pay GST at the rate of 18%. That you have to do the calculation and then you have to take a call whether you want to continue with this notification 4/2019 or whether you want to go with this Gujarat High Court judgment, and then you have to take a call. So once again, thank you very much. Once again, I thank Pune branch, especially Rajeshji and Kashinath for giving me this opportunity to interact with you. And this is my number. And if anybody want to get regular GST update, he or she can save my number. This is my number and send me your name and your city. So I will add you in my broadcast list. So we will take up some questions, Pranavji.
Yeah, sure.
Rajeshji?
Yes. Sir, I'll quickly ask you. One question. Sir, how 15% of commercial area is computed? Built up, super built up, etc. by taking that into consideration.
So you have to go, in my view, you have to go with the total area constructed. So suppose 10,000 square feet is to be constructed, project is of 10,000 square feet. So 1,500 should be commercial. And again, you have to proportionately take the common area also. That is what my personal view is. Because there is no clarity on this part.
Okay. So another question. Flat is booked in 2016 on which service tax has been paid and GST has been paid during 2017 July to December 2020. Now the flat booking has been cancelled. So what GST implications would be there on the part of builder?
So Anil Dronji has asked this question and very valid question, Anilji. So this is the question what we are receiving day in, day out from the various members also, various buyers also. So see, as far as GST is concerned, as we discussed with Rajeshji about the issuance of credit note. So again, there is a time limit given for issuance of credit note, and we say that for the year financial year 21-22, you can issue credit note up to September 2022. That is the time limit given. After that, you cannot issue the credit note. So once we are saying issuance of credit note, it means whatever GST you have paid or whatever service tax you may have paid earlier. So you will get the reversal of that against your current liability. But since there is a time limit, so in my view, so whatever money you have paid in 2017 till December 2020, and now you are cancelling this flat now in the year 2022. So credit note cannot be issued by the builder and he will not get any benefit. So this is a challenge, and this is you may try, buyer may try to get the refund, but whether refund will come or not, we have to try because it's a new law.
So another question. In a redevelopment project, if a tenant surrender his tenancy rights, residential to a developer and receives one flat in the said scheme free of cost, then there is no monetary transaction between tenant and developer as it is only exchange. So whether said transaction would be covered under GST, and if yes, by whom GST is payable, developer or the tenant, and at what rate?
So again, if you repeat Pranav.
Yep. There's no monetary transaction in the entire transaction. Just the tenant has surrendered his tenancy rights in a residential property, and the builder has given him one flat. Now it is merely exchange. So as there is just an exchange and no monetary transaction as such. So will there be any GST? And if yes, then who is supposed to pay GST and on what value? Because there's no monetary value as such in the transaction.
Understood. So there are two
Actually,
transactions.
this
One
is a
is
barter
no, understood.
Yeah.
So it's a barter transaction. So he is giving a tenancy right, surrendering a tenancy right to the builder, or he is selling his tenancy right to the builder. So if it is a residential property, so tenancy right or leasing of residential property is exempt. That we all know. So that transaction will be exempt transaction if it is a residential property, we presume. And whatever flat has been given by the builder to that tenant, again, in my view, if we go by notification 4/2019, so the first flat what he has sold to independent buyer, that value to be taken for this flat. So suppose he has the flat is of 1000 square feet and 1 crore रुपए में उसने अगर किसी independent buyer को बेचा है flat near to surrender of his tenancy right. So at the time of possession on that 1 crore, he is liable to pay GST at the rate of 5%.
Okay. So one question is regarding the works contract. The concessional rate of 12% of works contract for affordable projects can only service provider, example, labor contractor, charge the concessional rate to the builder, or 18% is only applicable.
So if a work contractor is constructing a affordable housing, then he will charge 12% affordable. Otherwise, it is 18% only. So no concession.
Okay. For prep PREP, commercial is chargeable at what rate? Is it 5% or some other rate?
Yeah. In RR, there are two things. One is RREP and one is REP. So in case of RREP, suppose total project is 1 lakh square feet, and out of that 1 lakh square feet, 10,000 is commercial. So in that 10,000 commercial is chargeable at the rate of 5,000, 5% only. But if it is REP, suppose out of 1 lakh 20,000 is commercial and 80,000 is residential. So on 20,000 GST shall be leviable at the rate of 12% on the commercial, and balance 80,000 square feet, that is 1% or 5% as the case may be.
Okay.
This is how it will work.
So in RRP project, for calculating that 15% area, should we include common area as well in the total area?
In my view, in the proportionate you can take, no?
Okay.
See, out of 1 lakh, the common area is suppose 10,000 square feet. Okay, so now 90,000. Out of 90,000, only 5,000 is commercial, and 85,000 is that.
In my opinion, we should go with the agreement. If my agreement show it is a 80 square meter.
No, that's correct. And it is saying that as per RERA also, how much you are showing commercial and how much you are showing residential as per RERA, that you have to take.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
In case of area sharing joint development, where completion certificate is never obtained, that is in small towns mostly, what will be the point of discharge of liability on units allotted to landowner?
So in that case, we have said that competent authority means you can take an architect certificate or maybe a chartered engineer certificate of the project completion, and that will be treated as completion.
Okay, and CC from engineer would also suffice, right?
Yeah. That engineer will suffice. A small town where the municipal corporation is not there, or Nagar Palika, Jila Parishad is not issuing any completion certificate, then it will be. Otherwise, city like Pune, Bombay, you have to take.
Okay. What will be the GST rate for subcontractor who is working for builder working on affordable housing project? both in case of labor contract as well as in material contract?
See, if it is a work contract, then again, if he's ultimately doing a construction of work contract, then 12%. As far as pure labor contract, there is no exemption. He will charge only 18%.
We'll take one or two more, sir. Just a moment. Request your view over GST liability on sale of paper TDR by a builder. Suppose a builder has purchased extra TDR and subsequently selling to another builder, then what will be the implications?
So that is a big challenge, as already I have discussed. That suppose Pranav is having a TDR, and Pranav has sold that TDR to Rajesh ji, who is a landowner and who is going to construct building. So that Pranav to Rajesh ji is not exempt, but Rajesh ji is landowner, and I am a developer for that project of Rajesh ji. So between Rajesh ji and me, that is exempt. But between Pranav and Rajesh ji transaction is taxable. So again, it will be a tax to be borne by Rajesh ji, because he will not get any credit, because ultimately his supply is exempt supply.
Sir, agreement for sale of land entered having terms as land will be conveyed in the future to the society. Is this transaction liable to GST at the time of OC on unsold units?
Again, can you repeat? Sorry.
Agreement for sale of land entered having terms as land will be conveyed in the future to the society. Is this transaction liable for GST at the time of occupancy on unsold units?
So what you are saying is that land is always transferred to the society. Generally, वैसे ही होता है. But at the same time, but again, in my view, that 5% or 1/3 deduction toward land will be available to the buyer. And whatever land has been transferred to the society, so there is no GST on the same, because value of land is exempt totally. और उसका पैसा उसने ऑलरेडी बिल्डर से तो उससे ले लिया है ना, बायर से ले लिया है, उस पे जीएसटी ऑलरेडी गवर्नमेंट को मिल गया है.
Okay, any further questions?
Yeah. Pranav, there are some questions.
Okay.
If the flat is before the completion certificate and after the completion part amount received, GST applicable after completion. Yes, Riaz, even sir already explained, even 10 rupees received before completion, entire amount will be taxable. The application for completion is submitted and some agreement.
One is in your example where the builder is paying the EMI till the date of possession, then whether builder is liable to pay GST on EMI paid out of his pocket.
So EMI means we are presuming that EMI include only interest portion. And in my view, if that contract has been between the buyer and the bank, then GST shall be applicable. But if the contract is between builder and the bank, and builder is taking loan and making the payment of interest, then there is no GST.
Okay.
Sir, I just received some questions, sir. First occupation, in schedule 2, you have mentioned first occupation. So what is actually first occupation?
First occupation, in my view, is that once you are getting a completion certificate, or maybe you are giving out for fit out. Again, very dicey. मतलब जो आपका जो फर्स्ट ऑक्यूपेशन होता है, तो आपका ड्रेनेज लाइन आ जाना चाहिए, आपका इलेक्ट्रिसिटी आ जाना चाहिए, जो बेसिक कम्युनिटीज है, दैट शुड बी देयर. That is what.
Yes, sir.
And as per legal provision also, or as per municipal corporation also, you are allowed to give the possession. That should be first occupation. So sometime what happen कि आपकी ये सब चीज फैसिलिटी तो है, लेकिन municipal corporation is not allowing you to give the possession legally till you got the completion certificate or OC, occupation certificate. So first occupation will not be counted.
Okay. Sir, the affordable म्हणजे REP and RREP, it should be considered flat wise or project wise.
Okay, we'll go to REP. तो सपोज 1 लाख स्क्वायर फीट का प्रोजेक्ट है, 20,000 कॉमर्शियल है, 20,000 कॉमर्शियल पे तो आपको 18% भरना है, मतलब इफेक्टिवली 12% भरना है, 1/3 डिडक्शन लेके। फिर बचे 80,000 स्क्वायर फीट में आपका 50,000 जो है वो अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग है। तो अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग आपको 1% पे पे करना है, 50,000 पे, 30,000 पे आपको 5% पे करना है। So you have to see the unit wise.
Unit wise, right?
Yes.
So GST at 18% on TDR to be paid by builder on TDR amount or the property value amount?
You are talking about reverse charge?
Yes, sir.
रिवर्स चार्ज में जब मुझे पे करना है एट द टाइम ऑफ पोजीशन, तो एज वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस द वैल्यू ऑफ फ्लैट, द फर्स्ट फ्लैट जो मेरा बिका था उसका वैल्यू लेके पोजीशन पे मुझे अनसोल्ड फ्लैट पे भी टीडीआर का वैल्यू समझ के भरना है रिवर्स चार्ज में। दैट व्हाट वी डिस्कस ना एग्जांपल में 30 फ्लैट्स अनसोल्ड।
Sir, in same line, if I see first flat, we have to consider the value of first flat sold near to the agreement.
Near to the
Yeah. So if I sell that flat at the lower price, means lower than the market price. The market price is 10,000, and I transfer that flat to my friend at 5,000. So is it be considered as 5,000?
See, at the same time, Rajesh ji, we have to understand there is a judgment of McDowell, that colorable device. So that you have to keep in mind. Otherwise, there is no challenge. If you are not doing this with the malified intention, then it's okay. Because sometimes what happen is stamp duty valuation हो सकता है मेरा 10,000 स्क्वायर फीट होगा, बट मेरा जो प्रॉपर्टी है वो थोड़ा अच्छे एरिया में नहीं है, तो भी हो सकता है मेरा 8,000 स्क्वायर फीट में भी बिकता होगा।
Yes.
So if you can able to prove and you can say that there is no colorable device, there is no malified intention, then definitely 5,000 will do. But that you have to prove.
With the malified intention, sir. Definitely it is with the it is to avoid tax. Sir, very important question. Practically, most of the builders are paying GST on receipt basis instead of as you rightly mentioned by you, it should be as per the
Time of supply.
Supply of service when the amount is due and all. So what are the implications with respect to the GST? For example, earlier service tax was due. After that, the service tax was applicable at 12% or 8%, and after that, many builders are applied for composition scheme, that 1% or 5%. I think there will be a huge implications if we don't follow this continuous supply of service provisions.
No, absolutely. Your GST, as I said, is due on 30th September. What example I have taken, that 75 lakh need to be paid on 30th September. If you are not paying 30th September, actually you received on 5th November. So you are paying in the month of November only on GST. So 2 months का आपको interest उसके ऊपर देना पड़ेगा 18% की rate से. The department at the time of audit, departmental audit, definitely they will recover.
No, not only this, sir. I mean to say कि as per time of supply, suppose your 70% construction was completed before March 19, and you received only 30% of your flat value. So this 40% will be taxable under old rate.
Absolutely.
But you have deposited tax at 1%. This differential taxability with interest penalty will be there.
Absolutely there.
Whereas we have not collected this from the customer, we have to deposit interest and penalty.
No, absolutely. If your time of supply has triggered before 31st March 2019, you have to pay at the old rate.
Yeah. Sir, say in same line, agreement is a main criteria. If I have not executed any agreement with the customer, only on booking basis, whether my continuous supply of service will trigger, considering the other.
Generally what happen, either you enter into agreement or not, generally they issue the allotment letter. Unless you issue the allotment letter, it is not confirmed. Booking is not confirmed. So some paper is required by the buyer from the builder, unless he will not make any payment. Correct? So once the allotment letter is booked, the allotment letter generally contain what will be the timeline for payment of your money dues, and whatever timeline has been given, that will be the time of supply.
You mean to say that even customer has booked flat with the builder, demand letter system will be applicable?
Yeah, demand letter will also be considered as the same.
No, if I have not
डिमांड
issued it,
लेटर में उसने लिखा ही होता है कि एग्रीमेंट में या एमओयू में या अलॉटमेंट लेटर में या सिंपल लेटर भी एक्सचेंज किया होता है तो उसमें लिखा रहता है कि इस दिन पे आपको इतना पैसा देना है या इस इवेंट पे इतना पैसा देना है, तो आपका टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई ट्रिगर हो गया ना.
okay. Sir, in case of land, plotting, sale of land, plot, what will be the value and what rate GST will be applicable?
See, as I said, ki plotted land, there is no GST applicable because we have discussed two different contracts. One is contract of Karnataka, where the contractor is actually constructing and is getting from the, not getting money from the owner, but they are sharing the revenue. So their GST will be applicable. But if I am having my own plot and I am doing the plotting itself and I am selling the plot, so in my view, it is a sale of plot, no services involved. So GST shall not be applicable.
Okay. In your view, in case of plotting contract or sale of plot, GST will not be applicable.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Can we take 2-3 questions, sir?
No, I am okay.
Pranav?
Okay, so I'll quickly take it, sir. First, if booking is done after 1st of April 2019, then definition of affordable is to be taken as per the new scheme or the old one?
As per new scheme only.
As per new scheme. In RREP, if commercial is below 45 lakhs, GST is 1% or is it 5%?
RREP commercial 5% only.
5% only.
Yeah, affordable is only for housing, not for any other purpose.
Okay. So if you could guide on finalization of accounts, whether to show advance received as sale and remaining value as WIP in final balance sheet, or how is the accounting to be done in this case?
See, I am not, I should accept that I am into practice of indirect tax. So I have not done any audit since last 20 years. So I may not be the right person to answer this.
Sir, there is a percentage completion method. We should follow this because up to 16 accounting standard, everyone is liable to follow the accounting standard. And I think we should follow the completion system of accounting.
Yes.
That again accepted by the income tax. So I think we will arrange one separate session, sir, with respect to the accounts and income tax. Manoj, sir. One question.
One is, please explain the GST implication on the redevelopment project for existing flat owners from the developer's point of view.
Covered. We have already covered this.
I think redevelopment is going to be covered by Sunil Gawawala sir in detail.
Okay.
So,
can you please explain about GST liability on maintenance charges collected by the builder?
So whatever maintenance charges builders are collecting, GST shall be leviable at the rate of 18%, and that 7,500 per flat deduction is not available to the builder. It is available only to the residential society.
Yeah. Sir, many builders are collecting maintenance and just keeping this as a corpus and spending money from this corpus. There was a landmark judgment in service tax. This maintenance amount will not be taxable if you keep this as a corpus, because you are just trustee to the amount and you are not receiving or providing services.
So once you go to the definition of consideration also in GST, so there also they are saying that if you are receiving any money, refundable deposit, then GST shall not be applicable. But if that refundable deposit, if you are adjusting against your service, at that point of time, GST shall be leviable. That you have to keep in mind. And a corpus, whatever you are collecting, and as it is, you are returning back to the society afterwards, same amount, so no GST. Otherwise, if you are reducing some amount and then transferring, then GST shall be applicable. At
I'm taking amount from the corpus.
Yes.
Security charges, electricity bill, all payments I am making from the corpus deposit.
करेक्ट. तो डिपॉजिट है ना, तो इट्स नॉट अ रिफंडेबल डिपॉजिट.
Yeah.
सो आपका जब भी डिपॉजिट का आप एडजस्ट करते जाएंगे, बिकॉज क्या होता है कई बार बिल्डर क्या बोलता है कि मेरा रिफंडेबल डिपॉजिट है और मुझे पता नहीं है कि मैं इसको 1 साल में ट्रांसफर करूंगा कि 1 महीने में ट्रांसफर होगा. आपका सोसाइटी कब बनेगा मुझे नहीं मालूम है. करेक्ट है. तो टिल द टाइम आई विल मेंटेन, तो टिल द टाइम वो डिपॉजिट ही करके रखेगा रिफंडेबल. क्योंकि कई बार क्या होता है कि वो 1 साल का पैसा उसने लिया लेकिन 2 महीने में सोसाइटी बन गई, तो 2 महीने में उसको ट्रांसफर करना है ना. तो इसके लिए हर महीने वो जब भी
Yes.
पैसा यूज करते जाएगा उस महीने में 18% ही विल चार्ज GST.
Vijay, yes, builder has to collect 1% or 5% from the builder. It is not a composite scheme where amount collected is including GST. It is not like that. We have to collect 1% or 5% from the buyer. Deepak Shirsagar, sir, please explain subvention scheme again. Subvention.
सबवेंशन मीन्स कई बार क्या होता है कि बिल्डर जो है वो बोलता है कि यू पे 20% नाउ, 80% एट द टाइम ऑफ पोजीशन. और उसमें क्या होता है कि वो बायर को बोलता है कि आप लोन ले लो, अभी आपको लोन लेना है ना, आप लोन ले लो. तो बिल्डर को जैसे जैसे उसका इंस्टॉलमेंट ड्यू होते जाता है, हर महीने उसको पैसा आता जाता है, हर इंस्टॉलमेंट पे उसको पैसा बैंक से आते जाता है डायरेक्टली बिल्डर को. एंड उसका जो इंटरेस्ट पोर्शन है, बैंक इज नॉट गिविंग एनी बेनिफिट. उसका जो इंटरेस्ट पोर्शन है दैट टिल द टाइम ऑफ पोजीशन इज पेड बाय द बिल्डर फ्रॉम हिज ओन पॉकेट. दैट इज व्हाट द सबवेंशन स्कीम है. एंड अनदर स्कीम में वो बिल्डर खुद ही लोन ले लेता है कि मेरे इतने फ्लैट बिक गए, ये रेट में बिक गए और इतना लोन है, और उसका इंटरेस्ट वो खुद ही पे करता है. तो खुद ही अगर इंटरेस्ट पे कर रहा है खुद के लोन का, वेयर ही हिमसेल्फ हैज टेकन लोन, तो देयर इज नो GST implication. बट इफ बायर का लोन अगर वो पे कर रहा है तो इन माय व्यू GST शैल बी एप्लीकेबल ऑन दैट.
ITC, Kshitij, ITC will be eligible in case of maintenance if we are paying 18% GST. Swati ji, we have already discussed concept of affordable in case of REP and RREP. I think, sir, we can share the PPT on the website of Pune branch.
Yeah, I will share today evening. I will email to you and then you can share.
Okay. So friends, on Pune branch website, you will get the PPT tomorrow. And this video also we will arrange to upload on the YouTube channel of Pune ICI official channel. So you can see this video and PPT also you will get on the Pune branch website. I think most of the questions we have covered.
Yes.
Most of the maximum questions we have completed. Thanks a lot, sir. Really patiently you have completed all the questions. Now it is a time of vote of thanks. On behalf of Pune branch and all my participants, I extend my thanks to Manish Gadia sir for enlightening us on the revenue side of the balance profit and loss account of the builder. Revenue side, we have structured program into 3 days. Like 1 day is for revenue side, 1 day is for expenditure side, and 1 day is for structuring of the transaction. So you have, I think, everything you have covered. Thanks a lot, sir. I also thank Pranav. I also thank my branch staff, and I also thank all participants for patiently hearing and all cooperation joining this session. Thank you, sir. With this, I declare this session has been completed. Thank you, sir. Felicitations, sir. Being this is a virtual session, we will do it offline, sir.
Sir, no felicitation. It is a sharing of knowledge, which is very important. So really thank you. And I like the session and I like the participants also because they are very prompt and they were answering the queries also. Questions, whatever I raised. So really, I enjoyed the session.
I enjoyed, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, sir. Thank you all. Stay tuned for tomorrow's session as well.
Yes. Thank you, friends.